Number 1A is ordinance number 17-12, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinance to repeal Chapter 40 Personnel, Article 2, Department Head Residency Requirement, declaring same to be null and void and of no effect. Second reading later on. This is the public hearing on that ordinance.
Do we have any comments or questions? If not, I declare ordinance number 17-12 closed. Ms. Thomas?
1B, ordinance number 17-13, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances, Appendix, Article 6, how development permits are reviewed and approved. Section 6-3, conditions for subdivision or development plan approved. To establish a reduced development fee for plan review for churches and nonprofit organizations, and to establish the effective date of this ordinance.
Third reading. Does anyone wish to speak on this ordinance? If not, I declare public hearing closed on ordinance 17-13.
Next item, 1C, ordinance number 17-14, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, Division 7, Fees, Section 2-412, the fee schedule, to add a section establishing uniform fees and rates for copy, search, retrieval, and redaction of public records pursuant to the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, as amended. Third reading.
Does anyone wish to speak on this ordinance? If not, I declare ordinance number 17-14 closed.
Item 1D, public hearings. Ordinance number 17-16, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of an amendment to the existing agreement for development of joint county industrial and business park, Darlington and Lee counties, dated April 14, 1998, between Darlington County, South Carolina, and Lee County. South Carolina, the park agreement to extend certain time periods set forth in the park agreement regarding diminution of the boundaries of the park and termination of the park agreement, and to enlarge the boundaries of the park to include certain property owned and or operated by Fiber Industries LLC, and authorize other matters relating thereto. Public hearing for second reading.
Anyone wish to speak to the public hearing on ordinance number 17-16? If not, I declare closed. All right. Danny?
Darlington County farm lease land. Farm lease agreement for Darlington County on the property located near Darlington County landfill on the Great Cypress Road, Darlington. Farmland lease prior to effective date for all of it.
Okay. That's first reading, no action taken.
Yes, first reading.
Anyone wish to speak on this ordinance?
13.
If not, I declare it closed. And we'll call to order invocation and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Douglas, would you lead the prayer?
Father God, let's meet again, O Lord, standing here with a bowed down head and a humble heart. Father, we just want to thank you, Lord, for letting us all gather here this afternoon for another county council meeting. And Father God, we're asking you tonight, O Lord, to go with the state of Texas. Father, we're asking you to touch the bereaved families. Father, we know that you are the one and there is another. Father, give them some strength and foresight that they can keep on pressing on. And Father God, we're asking you tonight, O Lord, to go with foreign countries. I want you to touch our boys, girls, men, and women. Give them some strength and foresight coming home one day. And Father God, we're asking you tonight, O Lord, to lead us and guide us through this meeting. In your name's sake, amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens' comments, have none.
That's just the comments you've got three right there.
All right, Mr. Jack Smith. 2 minutes.
I talked with Lee Flowers back there about a month ago, doing a benefit concert for Leukemia Society, which I have leukemia, and it's costing me over $12,000 a month for my leukemia. And the Leukemia Society is taking care of most of all my bills. And Lee told me, he said, since Reno Fest was being canceled, for me to do a festival, instead of just doing a Saturday night benefit, we're gonna do a Friday afternoon, have a jam session, and Friday night, a celebrity NASCAR college memorabilia auction. I have already contacted University of South Carolina, University of Clemson, CCU, and Tennessee, and all of them agree that they will send things in. I contacted with NASCAR. I have a lot of friends. Jim France, the vice president of NASCAR, told me that he would help get some things in from the past NASCAR drivers like Richard Childers and David Pearson and them to auction off that night. And the celebrity things are coming in from the Nashville people out there. I'm hoping that this will draw enough people in that they will spend the night in our hotels. And Lee talked to me about it. I said, we gotta do something to keep the people here overnight. And then on Saturday, we set a stage up at Berry Park, there behind Appleby, if weather permits. We're gonna have music and a car show on Saturday there, and then Saturday night will be the concert in the Center Theater.
Okay. That's your time, sir.
Is that my time? Yes, sir. Thank you.
We appreciate you coming. Ms. Panetta Butterball.
Good evening, Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to let you all know that Leadership Hartsville's class of 2018 is with us tonight. Our November meeting will be learning about local government, and so part of their requirement is to come tonight. So I just would like for them to stand, if that's okay, so that you can see who's in the crowd from our Leadership Hartsville class. Stand. Thank you. They are representative of small business, of course, our major industries here in town, nonprofits. Thank you for allowing us to use them.
Thank you. Mr. Ed Stokes.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. I'm here to talk just a minute about the cost of building permit fees in Darlington County compared to other surrounding counties. I'm fortunate enough to have permits pulled in 3 counties right now. A home in Darlington County at 2,720 square feet, the permit costs $3,450. A home in Florence County, very similar, 2,974 square feet, actually a little bit larger, costs $975. That Darlington permit fee is 3.54 times larger than Florence County. Impact on the bottom line on a house, 38 cents a square foot in Florence County for their permit fee, $1.27 a square foot permit fee in Darlington County. I don't understand the difference in the fees. not really any difference in what you get for that. In Florence County, on a $100,000 to $500,000 house, the base fee is $460 and $3 for each additional foot after the first, or each dollar after the first 100,000. In Sumter County, it's $475 and $4, very close. In Chesterfield County, I think it's the same as Florence, $460 and $3. Darlington County, it's $1,027 and $7 for each one over 100,000. It just doesn't make sense to me that Darlington County is so far out of line with the counties adjacent. And my experience and what it's driving in Darlington County now is when I do have an opportunity to quote something to someone, first question out of their mouth is, can you do it without getting a permit? It's driving people to falsify their applications by putting lower dollar values on it, trying to get by without paying the full permit. I just don't understand it. It's so far out of line, it's just unbelievable.
Thank you, Smith. And we have no
Business later in the agenda. I move to move all executive sessions at this point in the agenda.
Second.
all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, at this time I move that we go into executive session for the matter of proposed location expansion or provision of services, encouraging location or expansion of industries or other business in the area served by the public body, a discussion related to personnel and employment matters to include our county council, county administrator, and our attorney,
Second.
with the possibility of calling economic development.
And you second it?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. For executive session. Executive session, no action was taken, so we're gonna move on to the consent agenda.
Move the approval of the consent agenda items 6A through 6D.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Approval of minutes, need a motion,
Move the approval of minutes of September 19th, 2017.
second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it.
Move the approval of the minutes of October 2nd, 2017.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Ordinance, Mr. Bobby.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 8A, ordinance number 17-13, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances Appendix A, Development Standard Ordinances, Article 6, how development permits are reviewed and approved, Section 6.3, conditions for subdivision or development plan approval to establish a reduced development fee for plan review for churches and nonprofit organizations and to establish the effective date of this ordinance. This is for third reading, and I move the approval.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Ms. Thomas?
Ordinance 8B, ordinance number 17-14. An ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, Division 7, Fees, Section 2-412, Fee Schedule to add a section establishing uniform fees and rates for copy, research, retrieval, and redaction of public records pursuant to South Carolina Freedom of Information Act as amended. Third reading, I move to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it.
8C, ordinance number 17-12, an ordinance to amend Darlington County Code of Ordinances to repeal Chapter 40 Personnel Article 2, Department Head Residency Requirements, declaring same to be null and void and of no effect. Second reading.
Move the approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Item 8D, ordinance number 17-16. An ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of an amendment to the existing agreement for development of joint county industrial and business park, Darlington and Lee counties, dated April 14, 1998, between Darlington County, South Carolina, and Lee County, South Carolina. The park agreement to extend certain time periods set forth in the park agreement regarding diminution of the boundaries of the park and termination of the park agreement, and to enlarge the boundaries of the park to include certain property owned and or operated by Fiber Industries LLC, and authorizing other matters relating thereto. Second reading. I move for approval, second reading of ordinance number 17-16.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Judge.
Ordinance number 8E, ordinance number 17-17, authorizing receipt to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended. The execution and delivery of the fee in lieu of the various taxes agreed by and between Darlington County, South Carolina, and certain companies as sponsored and responded, affected, and respectively identified and collected for the time being as project date to provide for fee in lieu of the various taxes and incentives and certain special sources revenue created and other related matters. First reading, no action taken.
Mr. Nicholas,
Ordinance number,
you want David to read it?
they would be,
Ordinance number 1718, to amend the existing agreement governing the Darlington Florence Industrial Park by and between Darlington County, South Carolina, and Florence County, South Carolina, to enlarge the boundaries of the industrial park to include certain property now or to be hereafter owned and or operated by a company identified for the time being as project dates, located in Darlington County, South Carolina, and authorizing other related matters. First reading, no action taken.
Resolutions. Resolution number 679, approving Dogwood Creek Landing Holdings LLC as a sponsor affiliate for the fee agreement between Darlington County, South Carolina, and Darlington Solar, South Carolina LLC, dated as of October the 5th, 2015, and other related matters.
Move the approval.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
This, County Commissioner, this is a housekeeping measure.
Housekeeping, the Dogwood Creek Holdings was not originally listed in the FILO you approved, but you did approve for FILO to extend to the land and the improvements there. And Dogwood Creek holds the land, so they need to be named.
Thank you, sir.
Any other? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it.
resolution number 680. Is that not correct? Industrial and, Mr. Price.
I can do that. Resolution number 680, introducing, identifying, and proposed investment under code name of project, dates, and other matters related thereto. Need a motion? No motion, that fails. Okay, committee reports. Have none. Other items, appointments to boards, commissions, and committee, Mr. Douglas.
Carry over.
All right, Mr. Hudson's a carry over.
Carry over.
Mr. Flowers is a carry over. Ms. Hudson? You want yours carried over, Mr. Nichols?
Yeah.
Mr. Copeland?
Yeah, I want to reappoint Ms. Patricia Holly to the Historical Commission.
Okay, need a motion?
Motion.
And second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Okay. Boards, commissions, committee. appointment to the courthouse construction advisory committee, physical disabled representatives. Chairman Hudson. I'll have to, carry over mine too. All right. On lease agreement for a county-owned property located near Darlington County on Great Cypress Road, Darlington.
Move that we approve the farm lease agreement.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. 11D, E&E benefit concert request for accommodation tax funds.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we refer this to the Accommodation Tax Committee.
I second that. Mr. Chairman, I move that we instruct them to have their meeting as quickly as possible, and if they are in agreement, that we have a specially called meeting of Darlington County Council to address this.
Need a motion? Second.
David said.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Bid award for 5 permanent standby generators for fire stations.
Move the approval.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Solar source purchase of 64 thermal imaging cameras, $55,814.40. Fire district.
I move for approval of the sole source purchase.
Second,
Second.
any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to know why we're sole sourcing this.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna let the fire chief explain that. It's based on how these work.
The air packs that we use, which is what the thermal imaging cameras are going on, are they're regionally based on sales. So our particular area is sole source to Newton's Fire and Safety.
This thermal imaging camera is attached to the same battery source that powers the alarm on that air pack. This isn't a standalone handheld. It goes in with the equipment already in use by the fire district.
Well, that sounds like the same old gobbledygook I got from the last fire administrator about why we had to sole source through Newton.
But now, in here included from procurement is a letter where she confirmed that if you buy these to go with this air pack, it is sole source. It should be. the
I
letter
think it's a
should
bunch of
say-
gobbledygook, y'all.
I understand. Would you concur with that findings?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in
I
favor?
reckon, well, I reckon in all fair disclosure, you can buy other thermal imaging cameras, but they will not work with the air packs, joined together, same battery source, and that way, okay?
Any other discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
No.
ayes have it. 11G, 5-year lease purchase for excavator, $50,930.34 annually.
Move the approval.
Environmental service.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Sole source purchase of 24 taser cams, accessories and training for a 5-year contract, $63,161.70 for W. Glenn Campbell Detention Center. Need a motion?
I move to approve.
Need a second? Did you second it, Danny?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
I abstain, Mr. Chairman.
No?
Because
Abstain.
Mr. Kilgo III worked for Sheriff's Department, probably worked on this project.
Okay. 11I, pictometer oblique aerial photograph.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve contracting for the pictometry oblique aerial photography.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Could you elaborate more on that?
I'm gonna start, and then if he wants to pick it up and say something, every, how often you do it? You did the last reassessment 5 years ago, right?
5 years ago.
Every 5 years, you reassess your property to make sure you have the correct assessment on property values and whatnot. Well, the only way you can tell if you missed a piece of property is to have a good aerial photograph. So they'll do a flyover and do photographs of the entire county. So the assessor will first use that data to find out, did somebody add 1,000 square feet to the house and forgot to come get a permit? And we'll help them remember, that type of thing. But I tell you, these photographs are also used, they are placed in the 911 center. And then we have a more current image that if the sheriff's department's out on scene, the fire department's out on scene, if we're dealing with natural disasters and our disaster assessment team's out looking for things, that we can help them with the most recent photography, photographs, aerial photographs of what the area should look like, what they should be able to find the area, and it helps with their assessment, but it also helps us with our public safety side as well.
I'd like to see how that.
No, we're glad to show you. I feel sure the assessor will be glad to show you through all that.
I'm to the office tomorrow and I can show you.
Oh, well, not tomorrow, but I'll.
Well, just let me know, Mr. Thomas, and I'll be glad to show you, and I can even give you a login where you can look at it at the house. I give all of you a login.
Do we drone?
That sounds,
No, we can't drone, but,
I just wondered. I didn't know whether we had a pilot on staff.
well, I can fly, not a drone. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Administrative update.
I want to just talk about a couple of quick things. One, I'll draw your attention, in the front of your packet, you have a leaflet that talks about the courthouse meetings, public forums that y'all decided a few council, work sessions or so back, and the previous council meeting you wanted to fund. So what you have is the public service announcement, the PSA, that was sent out to all the medias, Friday? And no one's picked up a story on it yet, other than possibly two of the local papers. We're gonna make sure that the TV stations pick this up and talk about it. But on November the 16th at the Society Hill Library, there'll be, it was the first meeting, then the following 4 meetings are in a row right after Thanksgiving. November 27th at the Hartsville Library, November 28th at the Lamar Library, November 29th down the road here at the Darlington Music Hall, which is graciously given to us for free that night by Flowers family. And then November the 30th will be at the Darlington County Courthouse in the 5th floor courtroom. This will give 5 opportunities for listening sessions to the public about what their concerns may be on building a new courthouse, what their concerns may be on location, the amount of money they gotta pay, how they will be taxed. All those things. There's a paid facilitator or professional facilitator, Charles Weathers Group, that will be doing that for us. And once that is completed, we'll coalesce all that information, give it as a report to council, so that y'all can take that under advisement on how to proceed on the courthouse project. All right. The next thing I want to draw to your attention is the fire chief and I have been talking. When you passed the bond millage of a couple, or 3 years ago now, I believe, to add some additional bond millage to the county fire district, there were 2, not only some equipment, but there were 2 fire stations promised, or 3 promised in the minutes passing that. One of those had been built in the Pine Ridge area. There was another promise in the near Lumber Road, and one promise off of Lynch's River Road, and he is working on that, trying to finalize some identification of some property that will be best for that, so that he can be prepared to meet those obligations prior to the expiration of the bond. Just want to let y'all know that project is underway. I will say that I've had brought to me concerns about the Darlington Dragway, excuse me, y'all, operating before 1 o'clock on Sundays. Unless it's a nationally sanctioned event, they're not supposed to operate before 1 o'clock on Sundays, and we will simply review with them the ordinances and the standards they have to meet, review the situation, and make sure that the public is being given the fair consideration in that operation. Make sure that they're being given fair consideration as well. So if someone brings that to you, please have them bring it to me, and we will look into it. I don't have any other big topics unless y'all have questions or concerns or areas y'all want to discuss. Yes, ma'am.
the contract for the Charles Weathers Group, is that in there?
Y'all approved that either last meeting or meeting before. I have to go back and look at the minutes.
Okay, but it's
Y'all-
in our,
Y'all have already,
it's in our,
it's in the minutes. Y'all have already approved that.
the amount.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all approved the contract amount and the number of sessions. And then we worked out the dates of his availability.
Awesome.
all places handicap accessible special needs services. Thanks to that special needs services, all these buildings are.
Well, they're all libraries except for the music hall, and then I can't answer that.
Yeah.
If they can get in there, and then of course the courthouse can get in and go up the elevator to the 5th floor.
Any comments?
Yeah, we bought all our permits and paid all our fees when we built
Ms.
these.
Thomas?
I'd just like to say I appreciate the offices in the courthouse and other county buildings that I go in, and they are really very receptive and really, really nice, and I appreciate you all. And I like to give kudos to the Mosaico building. That building has really improved a lot. That painting and the floors are really nice. So I thank you all for that. I don't know, when that happened, but it's really nice. No, that's it.
Mr. Kilgore, you got anything?
I brought up several months ago the fact that there were places around the county where cars were being stored improperly. I've ridden by that same one on Indian Branch Road, it's still there. And then there's, right on that side of town, it's not in my district, I imagine it's in Ms. Thomas's district, it's just disgusting. The number of people who store cars and just let them rot while they sit there. And if we've got an ordinance to do something, Mr. Administrator, I'd like to see us do it.
We'll follow up. I know we sent letters out over the issue and gave them a timeline to work on. We'll follow up on it and see if there's some teeth we can put into it.
And I think we just really need to look around the county and see, because storing cars like that brings vermins. And if you get vermins, then you get snakes. And then you get this, and then you get that. And then you got a poor old guy who drops dead from being drunk. And we don't know about it for 10 or 12 years, and we find it boom.
Well, in the future, I'd like to know if it's in my district, because we've had some complaints, and I've referred them to the right source, and they've taken on it. Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Mr. Kilgore? That's all?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Thank you.
The leadership group from Hartsville's already left, but I would like to acknowledge that I believe that program's been going on for probably close to 25 or 30 years, and it's kind of unsung importance, because one of the few classes left that teach civics. Would like to recognize the chamber for their sponsorship, and if you haven't filmed through one of those programs, I think I might have been in the first class. It is really beneficial, and I know Sumter County has probably one of the most active groups today, but certainly like to recognize the chamber for continuing that education program.
Well, I appreciate Jack coming and presenting his ideas, what he wanted to do in Hartsville. I'm not sure if we got, because the way we passed it, Charles, would you explain what the process will be, the way we made the motions of how this is going to, and part of the reason we had to send it back is legally.
Part of the accommodation tax, these are recommended to you for
Yeah.
approval. So Jeanette leads up accommodation tax for us, so she will take it back, contact the committee, ask them to meet to approve it expeditiously, of course, like y'all asked. And once they approve it or disapprove it, that would come back to council, so you know. Either way as it goes, hopefully they would approve it in this case. It would come back to council and she'd contact the chairman. Now, if I understand correctly, y'all have asked for a special meeting to be called if they recommend approval.
Right.
So then that would go to the chairman for him to call such a meeting.
But legally,
They need to,
They
they
have
have to push
to-
it to y'all first.
Yeah.
so we could, if we had approved it tonight, we would have been out of order.
Probably skip the step you should follow.
Mr. Douglas?
Oh, I don't have anything.
Ms. Newman?
I don't have
Go.
I just want to thank the sheriff again for being here in uniform. I feel safe and I appreciate it. In the world we live in today, it's a scary place. And with the easies, he's very easy to work with, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate our employees, appreciate our guests for coming. Tony, he's got a big project on him in Lamar, and hopefully we'll get that straightened out pretty short. But other than that, that's all I have. Make a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Don't go by there.